Hi everyone, Senior Scientist here. Just taking another look at Bitcoin Cash and why I think we're not done with our pump yet. And in the immediate short term here, I don't know exactly when, but I think we're going to be heading up to this 4.236 when we draw a fib on our recent high down to that dip. And if you want to know why I come up with that 4.236, watch my previous video. It's based on some of the work that CryptoFront pointed out, some of the patterns. And so that's roughly $1,150, maybe a little bit higher than that. Could even go to that 4.618 area. And then we'll probably have a little bit of a pullback. But there is, I was just looking at this, and there seems to be even a little more support for that area. This is why I don't think our pump is done. So we could in the it's either going to go, could go anytime, could go tomorrow, could go the next day. It could even take a little bit of a dip down again to that 382 at 412 and then go. All those are a possibility here, but the bottom line is, I mean, this thing looks like it's going to go within the next week. So that could, again, be at any time within a week, I would say. I don't think it's going to go much longer than that, take much longer than that. But anyway, here's another clue, another piece of support for that target. And it's looking at what has been pointed out by many in the past. Missed a Million, if you go to his YouTube channel, Missed a Million, you want to know more about this, he breaks this down a little more in detail, and he points out, and others have pointed this out, that we have basically a cup and handle pattern. Cup, and there's our handle, okay? And in the cup and handle pattern, we can look at the depth of the cup for a target area, okay? Oops, excuse me. So let's take a trend line here, and we can measure it and go to the top of our cup. All right, about there, let's say. Okay, down to the bottom, and maybe it's a little bit lower. Anyway, within reason here, let's try to get the very bottom there. Yeah, whatever. Let's just do that. And we move this over to the breakout area. And where does that put us? I don't even think I drew this thing right, because it's slanted. I don't know if you see that, but let me take the magnet off. Disable the magnet. Let me zoom back out. Let me grab that again. And let me just delete it. Do this over again. Okay. Sorry, I had the magnet on, and it's kind of hard to do. So let's look at the top of that cup, right about there, down to the bottom. Okay, we'll just say that's pretty straight, somewhere around there. Okay, now move that up to the breakout point. Should be right about there. And where does that take us? Check this out. I mean, that takes us right there, the 4.236 to the 4.618. So that 4.236 is looking awfully interesting to me. And you want to see some others that have already done that? Okay, look at AMP. You probably heard AMP really pumped hard. Well, check this out. So if we take a fib from that high, this high to this low, similar to what we were doing with Bitcoin Cash, and we see the 4.236, this 4.618 topped out there. Okay, why didn't it go just why did it go past the 4.236? Well, if you can imagine, we kind of have this other cup and handle pattern, right? So this other cup and handle pattern, let's do another trend line. It seems like it really respects that. The the cup and handle pattern. So let's say that that's our cup, the depth of the cup going all the way down, keeping it straight if I can. And oops. And let's go to the breakout. Right about there. And look at that. So kind of respected that. So again, that breakout right about there at the top of this guy. Let's just do that. And you know, my drawing might be a little bit off, but that's pretty close, right? So we're basically, you know, right here on Bitcoin Cash. And we've got this massive pump coming up. Okay. So that could be kind of how AMP was following. Maybe not. But again, I don't think we're done with Bitcoin Cash. And we look at the RSI, and this thing looks like it just wants to jump right back up. That's on the daily. Let's look at the weekly. And I don't think we're done. Look at the MACD. MACD just kind of came up a little bit. Now we look at the 4-hourly even on the MACD. Look at that. It's just getting ready to go. Right? See, we got this nice pump. Whoops. Got this coming up here, down, like that. Let's look at some others that might have that. How about XCN? XCN, check this out. XCN kind of came up, down. See how it went flatline there? Then we got that massive pump on XCN. How about AMP? I was just looking at ones that recently pumped, you know. And okay, since XCN had that cup and handle pattern, see the MACD? MACD came up, came down. You know, probably didn't spend as much time, but kind of did the flatline thing. So it came up, down, kind of flat. That's accumulation, and boom, off to the races, right? And so if we look back again, Bitcoin Cash, yeah, I just don't think we're done. I don't think we're done with this pump. I think it's going to get up there. And then if you look at my video that I did 2 videos ago, I explained how we are in this, let me just delete that fib. We're in this triangle pattern. Let me even go to the monthly. Looking at the whole entire chart. This whole entire chart shows kind of a B, C correction. And coming up out of that, I think we're going to get on top of this. We're going to break out of that. Probably come down and test it. So where's that breakout point? Well, I think that breakout point is coming up here. And that would, you know, that would lend credence to that 4.236. Then we'd probably come back down, you know, so we'd probably get up to 1,160, 70, 50, 60, 70, 80, right around that mark. And then probably come back down and retest this descending line that we have here. That's on the entire chart. So we've got a lot of different scales of operation on this thing. So you see how it touches all those. That's pretty clear, ABC. And then we have Wyckoff accumulation. And Wyckoff accumulation here. And this is coming up out of phase C into phase D. And it showed its sign of strength. It's showing a lot of, now this is on the monthly scale. Let's go back to the daily scale. So it was really showing its sign of strength. So it did all this was back here in prior was Wyckoff accumulation. We had the spring, came up, that's a successful test. Came down, retested the previous trading region right there, the top of the previous trading region. And it's been showing its sign of strength. And actually, even within all this, that's another Wyckoff accumulation. So these big whales continue to accumulate the supply. That's what they're doing here. When you see all this accumulation, that is what Wyckoff called smart money. And it's testing the supply zones. What it's doing is accumulating and taking all of our coins because it knows where it's going, where we're going. And so we just popped up above that, kind of testing the top a little bit. So we showed our sign of strength. And the fact that it took so many months in that little phase, in that sign of strength, I've heard others, and I don't know if this is true, say that the longer you take here coming up, if you look at Elliott wave theory, and I don't know much about that, okay, but the longer you take here, the shorter time frame, because when we come up here and we pull back, like, how long is that going to last? Is that going to last another year? Well, the longer we take here, according to what I've heard, the shorter and the quicker that pullback will be before we can go up again. So that, and you could argue once we get up here and we come back down, now once we start going, now we've really started the bull run. And that would fit Wyckoff, because this here would be phase D, at the top of phase D. If you look at Wyckoff accumulation, then this would be the start of phase E, that leg up. And according to Mr. Million, when he's looking at Elliott wave theory, he doesn't talk about Wyckoff, but when he's looking at Elliott wave theory, he thinks that, and I've heard others say this too, that this is like our first wave and the third wave coming up. And then we would do some kind of correction, like maybe an ABC correction. And then that fifth leg is where we can get up to that full extension, maybe 50,000. And that's what the chart supports, is a $50,000 price point, maybe sometime in 2025. So that's why I have this drawn. And I've showed this on 2 videos ago. All right. So you want to know where I get 50,000? I talked about it in my last video at the end. That was kind of just a weird coincidence, but I really break down how I get to 50,000 in, it was 2 videos ago, I think it is. And basically we have that ABC correction. We look at the depth of that and then match it up with where we break out. And then also a lot of these end up doing a 618 fib extension. So I guess I'm showing this right now. So when we look at the overall chart, go from top to the bottom, and we put it in the log scale, because this thing on the longer time frame, you use log scale, and this thing matches up. I mean, you can see how it rests on these fibs here, you know. So how on the longer time frame, how it respects the log scale fibs. And isn't that interesting how they both, the 1618, not 2618, that we're heading up to the 1618, because that's what a lot of these do during the bull run. And where's that 1618? Right at 50,000. And it matches roughly, the height of the pattern. Matches that height. I mean, you can't line that up hardly any better, you know, depending on where the breakout is. That's just my drawing with fat fingers on a phone, and look how they match up. So that would be the bull run target, but to get there, I think we're coming up here to that 4.236 in the immediate short term, coming down. Again, we might have some testing to do, and then it's going to be just this build up. and that would be the bull run. And we're heading up there to 50,000 per coin, and we're sitting at 439 right now. Something to think about. That's my opinion. This is not financial advice. There's a lot of coins that are going to do really well. I'm not saying Bitcoin Cash is the only one, but I do think that there is an agenda with Bitcoin Cash, and it is a sleeping giant. And we see Grayscale taking off the BCHG, and I think there's a lot of room to grow there. I mean, imagine we hit that, what BCHG is going to do. Man, Ethan Galstad's going to be rolling in the dough. Sheesh. That's going to be great for everybody. I mean, everyone. So I'm really excited about it, and I think I'm going to be selling some other stuff and putting it right into BCH. Not all of it, but in the immediate short term, that's a really good gain. If indeed the confirmation of that cup and handle and the 4.236 lining up at 1,147, we can round up to 1,150 or higher, because it seems like it probably will go to that 4.618. Again, given what AMP did not respect that it's respecting it. You can see it's actually coming back. Excuse me. It's coming back down. You see how it kind of came back down to that 4.236. Now it's resting on the top of the 468, and it still shot above that. So why did it do that? That's what I'm asking myself. And maybe there's a good fib there, and the reason why that I haven't seen, but it seems to be respecting the size of the cup, the depth of the cup, and the breakout, because that lines up really well right there. So that's what I'm liking about Bitcoin Cash. If we're looking at the cup and handle, that really lines up well, and I think we're heading there very soon. This thing's just getting ready to go. Again, look how it's just coiling up. When this happens, a lot of times it'll dip. It'll psych you out and think, oh no, oh no, oh no. And then it'll start going. It might take a few days, but it might be even sooner than that. I don't know. We'll see. That's all I got. Peace.